डॉक्टर बाबासाहेब आंबेडकर ओपन युनिव्हर्सिटी.
Namaskar, I, Dr. Darshana Dalwadi, is welcoming you all to the lecture series of 105 Software Engineering. Today we are going to see about Block 2, Unit 1, that is Software Measurement and Estimation. Dear learners, in the continuation of this series, we are going to see about Block 2, in which first unit we have, that is software measurement and estimation. Now, in today's lecture, what we are going to discuss, our today's agenda is, first we are having introduction, then after we have key attributes of software measures, then after importance of measurement, then software measurement challenges, then after software size measures, FP calculation and software cost estimation. Dear learners, this is the agenda of this whole unit. Now in today's lecture, what we are going to see, first let us start our discussion with the introduction. Now in introduction, what we have? See, the unit is about the software measurement and estimation. We have to estimate something based on the measurements. Now what is the estimation we are going to do and what are the measurements we are going to consider? That whole things we will have from this unit, from beginning to end. We have different measurements which we need to consider when we are estimating overall costing of our software. Now before moving on that, we need to understand that what are the measurements we have. And before understanding it, first we need to understand what is the use of measurement, why we need to have some measurement for estimation. Now see, in general what happens, whenever we want to buy something or we want to purchase something, then we are checking it in comparison of different parameters. And after comparing it, if it suits us in the terms of the functionality it is providing or the quality it is providing or in the terms of overall costing, in any terms it suits us, then we purchase it. Now here's something is similar to that process, but some changes we have. Here we are talking about the software's costing. And when we are talking about the software's costing, at that time first we have to consider the overall functionality which it is providing. Then after we have to also consider time, within the time limit it is providing the software or not, and so on. Number of measurements we have which we need to consider. So we will see that why we have to use this measurement and why we have to find the estimation of software, so that we can have proper software project of our functionality or of our requirements. Now let us start our discussion. Now when we are talking about measures, so we can say that measures provides quantitative indication of amount, dimension, capacity or size of some attribute of a product or a process. What can be measure? Measure can be anything. It can be an amount, it can be a dimension, or it can be a capacity or size of what? It can be any of this thing of any product or any process. This thing you can consider as a measure. In general terms, we can say quantitative indication of something is considered as a measure for that particular thing, whatever we have taken. If we have taken amount, then that measurement will be of amount. If we have taken dimension, then that measurement will be of dimension, and so on. Because of this thing, it is easy to compare quality and cost of two materials of the same type and size. what it have measure means the quantitative indication of anything. That thing, that quantitative indication is helping us to compare two things, or we can say to compare two materials which are having some similarities in any sense. Means it may be in terms of type, or it may be in terms of size. So this is the use of measurement, that it allows us to have the comparison, and from comparing it we can select the best which suits us. Like we measure various attributes of physical product, we need to measure attributes of software also. Now, as I said you that when we are going to buy something or we are going to purchase something, at that time we are having the comparison of two products, and whatever suits us best, we are selecting it. So in physical products also we are doing this thing. Same thing we have to do in softwares also. We cannot see the software directly, means we are not able to see the code, but we are considering the functionalities which the softwares are providing, and based on that we are selecting that which software suits us best. Or we can say number of functionalities we have, then which functionality suits us, means which we want. Getting? So it is a particularly important part in the era of outsourcing and offshoring, where software projects are expected to be delivered by software vendors to their customers. This helps where? It helps mostly in outsourcing, or we can say offshoreization, where the software projects are delivered by the software vendors to the customers. Vendors need to provide timeline, effort, cost, along with functionalities and features in quantifiable terms, so that the customers can evaluate, compare, and track as per commitment given. We are saying that vendors are delivering the software to the customer, but when vendors are providing the software, at that time they have to provide some criteria to the software customer, so that later on when the customer is getting the software, at that time they can compare, they can evaluate that whatever commitment was done at the time of delivery is followed or not. Getting? So what are the things the vendors are providing? Vendors are providing the timeline. Timeline indicates what? From starting to end, means when the project will start and when the project will end, when the customer will have the delivery. That is called the timeline. Then efforts. How much efforts will be required to complete this whole task? And the cost. How much costing will be there for this project or for this software? These things are provided by the vendors to the customers, and with it they also have to provide the functionalities and features which they are going to provide. After that, when the delivery is done, at that time the customer can check if these things are there with the customer, then they can check that the project is delivered in time, whatever time was decided, in that time limit the project is delivered, the efforts which they were asking for are applied. Sometimes they can ignore the efforts because customers are not having any relation with the efforts, they just want the software with the quality. Costing affects them, so they can also check the cost. Efforts are the part of vendor, but when we are considering it, we need to consider that effort is also part of the software project. So these are the things we have when we are having the software, when we are measuring it. Now for software project, the approach taken is having some steps. First thing we have, that is size is estimated for the requirements of the project. How much size the project will have? It depends on the requirements of that particular project. After deciding size, efforts. Effort is estimated for the given size. First we need to identify how much size the project will be. of. Means project is small, project is medium size, or is of bigger size. According to that, we require the efforts to complete it. This is used for project planning and scheduling. We are saying that efforts in sense what? Efforts start from planning to the completion of the project, means it includes everything, the coding part, the testing part, deployment part, each and everything is included in efforts. And after that, the costing. The cost is estimated based on the efforts. How much efforts we require, based on that, the overall costing is decided for the project. So, whenever we are having any software project, at that time, basically for the measurement of software costing, we have three things. First one is size, that is decided based on the requirements. Second one we have, that is efforts. Efforts are decided based on the size. And third one we have, that is the costing. Costing will be decided based on the efforts which we have defined. Now, after that, we are having here one diagram which is showing us that how the size, efforts and cost estimations are done with the help of past experiences and used for planning and scheduling for the project. Now see what happens, every time it is not so that whenever we are having any software, at that time each and everything we have to start from the beginning, means every time we have to create something new. It is not so. Sometimes it happens that whatever requirements we need in our project, that is already created by someone, or we have some similar projects in past which we can use in our project with some modification or without any modification. So how we can use that? How we can use our past experiences for the planning of this new project and for deciding the schedule of the new project? That, for understanding that, we are having one figure. Here we can see we are having number of things. First one we have, when we are starting our project, at that time first one we will have, that is the collection of requirements. This we are collecting from the customers who are the users of this software. They are giving us the requirements. Based on the requirements, we are deciding the size, estimated size, as we have seen in previous discussion. In previous slide also we were having these three things. First we will have requirements, then based on the requirements we will have the size, and third one we will have, that is efforts. Now we are going to see that how the size, efforts are decided. Getting? Now first thing we have, that is requirements. These requirements are collected from the customers. Now after collecting it, we are estimating the overall size of the software. Now when we are estimating the size, you can see here, when estimation of size is there, at that time we can also consider similar past project. Means whatever requirements we have for it, suppose in past we were having any such project, then we can take its size estimation. We can consider this, right? Then after we are moving forward, as we move forward from size to efforts, next thing we have, that is estimation of efforts. Now as we are moving from size to effort, efforts are considered based on the first thing we will have, that is size, and another thing we will consider, that is past productivity defect. Whatever product we have which were having such functionalities in past, now we are considering that any defect were there, any productivity defect were there. If it was there, then we have to consider it in our estimation efforts. Now as we are having these two things, size and efforts are done, based on that our overall costing will be decided. Now when we are talking about this estimation costing, now estimation costing will be done from the size, from the efforts, and from efforts we will have the cost. With costing, with efforts, we will have one another point which we have to consider, that is resource rates and other cost. When we are estimating the cost, at that time we have to consider different rates. We also have to consider different time. Like suppose for we are talking about this software, so let's have a example of it. Like suppose we are having one software in which we require 3 person who are going to work on it, right? So we have to consider the costing of that person, how much we will pay to them. Second thing, we have to consider the consumptions they will have when they are developing this, right? In it, what we can include? We can include many things, like we can include electricity, then we can include the infrastructure where they are going to sit, then we can include the hardware parts which they are going to use. We can also include the software. Suppose it may happen that they need some software which are licensed version, so for that we need to pay, so that also we have to consider. So all these factors we have to consider, as well as its rates also need to be considered when we are having the estimation of costing. Now this part is done, means we have collected requirements. Based on that we have decided the size. To decide the size, we have considered similar past projects also. Based on that we have estimated the efforts. For estimating the efforts, previous product defects we have considered, and after that, based on that we have considered estimation of cost. For estimating the cost, we have also taken the resource rates and other costs which were included with the estimation of whole project. This is done. Now based on the size and efforts which we have estimated, we will have the planning of the project. Now when we are having this planning of the project, with it we also have to consider the experience, time availability, technology, as well as reliability. Project planning we are doing, but we have to consider that when we are going to develop this project, which type of technology we will use, which type of persons are going to use, any experienced person required to complete this project. If so, then we have to consider them also. How much reliability will be there after the development of the project, as well as how much availability will be there. So these things we have to consider when we are considering the planning of project. And after planning, we will have the scheduling of the project, that is called as the project schedule. Project schedule is done. Now in that we have to show that when our project will have in which phase, from starting to end, when we are starting the activity to deployment, how our project will have different phases at different times. That is called as project scheduling. One thing we have left, that is what? Project cost. We discussed that estimation of costing is done. Now based on that, overall costing is done for the project. Overall costing includes everything. Whatever we have included in the development process of the project, we need to consider each and everything for project costing. So this is how our project costing will be done. Now after that we will be discussing about the importance of software measurement, then the challenges we have, as well as the different methods of measuring the different criteria, we can say. So this is what we are having in introduction. Means up to this we have just understand what is the use of measurement in software development project, right? How costing is decided and how costing is affecting the software project. Now we are going to see some key attributes of software measurement. Which are the key attributes? We can say that the things which we are considering when we are measuring something. So what we have to consider? So that is what we are going to discuss here, which are called here as a key attribute. There are many attributes we need to measure throughout software development life cycle. Whenever we have software development SDLC, at that time we need to discuss many attributes. Few attributes of them are discussed over here. First we will discuss about size. Size or quantum of the software product is one of the most important attribute to be measured. Size or quantum of the software product means how much size the project will have, means it is a small one, it is medium one, or it is large one. It depends on the requirements. How we are going to decide about the size? Suppose you have 10 requirements which you want to fulfill in your software. Then obviously with 10 requirements the software size will be small. But suppose you have 100 requirements. So compared to 10, if you are going to consider 100 requirements, then the size will be bigger. Getting? So this is how we are having the size. When we are talking about this size, at that time we are having two categories of measurement. First one is input oriented and second one is output oriented. Now what does the input oriented mean and what does the output oriented mean? That we are going to see now. If one measures the size simply by efforts, by saying that this product is worth say 100% days of effort, then it is known as input oriented measure, because the effort which we are having here is the input you provide to the development of the software product, and as we are not providing it to the output product, so we can consider it as a input oriented measure. In simple terms you can say, if you are giving the efforts in the input, then it will be called as the input oriented measure. Different people or teams may take different amount of effort for the same project. It may happen that project is same, but the person who are working on it are different. They are having same functionality to implement, but the time they can take or the efforts they require may be different. For example, we can say one team may take 100% days, while the other team may take 80% days for the same software product to be developed. Software product is same, but one team is there who is taking 100% days and one another team is there who is taking 80% days. They both have to provide the same functionality, but the efforts they require are different. So it may happen. Now output oriented measures means what? As we have seen that input oriented means what? When we are giving the effort in the form of input, then it is called as input oriented measure. And for output oriented measure, what we are considering? The output oriented measure on the other hand will be fixed irrespective of amount of effort provided and hence more meaningful and comparable. This output oriented measure can be the measure which is not dependent on the inputs efforts provided. We can have the comparison based on it also. We are going to discuss two ways in which the size is measured. In our discussion, we will have two ways for measuring the size. First one we have, that is line of code, LOC, and second one we have, that is function points, FP. Based on this, we can measure the size of our software. After that, second attribute we have, that is productivity. Productivity means what? We can say that the amount of effort required to construct the product can be found by measuring how much time on an average is required to construct one unit of size. So we can say that to develop one unit, whatever time duration we require, based on that we can decide how much time the software will need for the whole product. So that is called as the productivity. We can say something which is similar to number of square feet. When we are having any wall at that time, if we are considering the square feet of a wall and we want to paint it, then in 1 hour how much square feet we can paint, then we can find the overall time duration for painting the whole wall. So same thing we are having in software. Getting? This process is known as the productivity. Productivity can be in terms of number of days for large activities, or we can say in terms of number of hours. Suppose the activity is small, then we can consider in the form of hours, or the activity is large, then it will be considered in the form of days. So we can, in general, we can understand that the time duration which we require to get the complete product can be considered as a productivity. We will consider in terms of number of hours for our discussion. For our discussion, what we will consider? We will consider only number of hours which require for completion of the project. When we are talking about this productivity, we can say that one person who is working for productivity can quickly derive productivity per day by multiplying number of working hours to productivity per hour. Suppose they want to derive that productivity per day how much productivity they have for the software, then they can get it by doing the multiplication. To which thing you have to multiply? They have to multiply number of working hours to productivity per hour. Per hour, how much productivity they have, to it they are multiplying with the number of working hour, and the result they will get will be the productivity per day. So dear learners, we are keeping up to this. Next key attributes we are going to discuss in our next lecture. Up to that, have a nice time. Namaskar.
स्वाध्यायः परः